What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Sticking with the theme of Sprite, for whatever reason, this kind of popped in my head. Level 2 monsters, as you know, are quite accessible in this deck, and really anything, as long as it's a level 2, is accessible. One of those being through, like, what you might know, Gigantic. But another way to kind of recur them or add them back to your hand is Herald of Pure. So that's pretty cool, especially if you have Driver in your hand or something. This deck actually works pretty well because like the PSY-Frame cards are obviously just good going second. So you kind of have Interruption going first or second. The deck kind of plays the same either way, which is pretty cool. And you'll see some really cool interactions here. One of them that's like actually just kind of absurd. One Gamma, I do run the one that, negates spells. I don't run a lot of PSY-Frame cards, just the ones that are good. A bit of a weird top deck. Basically, the only thing, with this for hire stuff is that you just get a lot of advantage from it. That's kind of the whole idea. Okay, so Jet can go. And I can go for Sprint. So everything looks pretty normal so far, and it is. Like, most of it is just random Sprite stuff. But the cool thing about PSY-Frame is that it plays during your opponent's turn. So you get to do all the good stuff from Sprite and then go from there. Now, this is Delta. I could have gone for game, like there's like 1,000 different ways, but I'd rather showcase, some of the things that you can do. I can add that back to my hand after searching it from the deck. So this is the spell negate, and all you need to do is go into the link 2, and obviously it's like where Sprite comes in. It only locks you into link 2 and like rank 2 monsters, which obviously is not very hard to do. It's like extremely easy. It requires 2 monsters except tokens. You don't even make tokens. The like super absurd thing, obviously, is that none of the PSY-Frame cards are once per turns, which comes up very much. So you'll see it right here, and you can go into some really absurd loops. Again, kind of a weird opening. Seeing Driver kind of stinks, but I do have Dark Ruler more, so that should definitely help. And I find out that I'm playing against Hungry Burger, and it just gets even better because the rituals all have effects when they're targeted for an attack or card effect. So of course you can get around that. Alright, so he goes for the field spell. He's probably going to be able to get 2 of them out. I think I get really lucky here, and he does excavate the top cards of his deck, and I don't think he finds any Hungry Burger cards. But he has used a lot this turn already, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But I think it's 6 cards, and he doesn't get it. But that's okay. He does have a face down, which is kind of scary, because again, my hand isn't that good. It's another Jet. Okay, well, Dark Ruler don't work. It's a good place to start. I don't have any PSY-Frames in my hand now, but they are all accessible through the deck. And Jet is like basically the one card you want to see because you never want to use Gigantic, for like Sprite Blue or something. You always want to use it for a PSY-Frame card that you can bounce back to your hand. And there goes Gigantic, and I can go for Gamma. So this is kind of like the Cyberse engine in a way, but it just kind of feel like it takes the best parts of it. Like, the whole thing with the Cyberse engine normally for PSY-Frame is that it makes Lambda, but, like, why not use a better engine around it? At least that's the way that I see it. So, of course, he's going to go for a monster effect at some point, which is going to trigger the field spell, which is incredible. It's a non-once per turn. If you special summon a PSY-Frame monster, you get to synchro summon during your opponent's turn. So, of course, I'm going to get rid of a monster and then go for Omega. I end up sniping the Ben 10 out, and then during the end phase, this searches. So, once you get this loop going, and you'll see like another part of the loop, like you can just like keep going. You kind of like can't lose. So you're gonna see, so draw phase, search, standby phase, Omega brings it back, and then you search again. And like I said, this is a non-once per turn, so really these are just like multiple spell negates, which is really important. Again, I'm going to be able to take that out of his hand. I can search during the end phase, which could be the continuous trap, which is good in the graveyard and on the field. It's a very good trap. So there goes one ritual. Now, the thing is, and this is what I didn't realize, the other PSY-Frame monster is a weird level. Like, the creates level, the 2 that are important, which is Gamma and Delta, they're level 8s. But I was like, oh, that's really unfortunate because obviously PSY-Frame Omega is limited. You just have to synchro summon using those monsters. It doesn't have to be a PSY-Frame, like, synchro. So you can go into any 8. Like, that can be Borreload Savage Dragon. That can be Dragite because you obviously have a water in the graveyard because of Beaver. It could be Berserker, like kind of like whatever you think. I don't know. But I usually use Borreload, but sometimes you may not have the link in the graveyard. It just kind of depends. I don't know. Sometimes it feels good. Sometimes it feels bad. But like that's just really cool. That you, like, oh, I have all these deltas, I kept searching them. It's like you kind of think they're useless, but they're really not, because you can just keep using the effect. And obviously at some point you're just going to like out-resource your opponent completely. This is against Eldritch, and this is just kind of a crazy duel in general. Like, I have like the worst opening. A spell negate, which is like fine, I guess. And I'm going to be able to at least search Omega, or Gamma too. Now the only problem is that I can only use one of these, so I kind of have to pick and choose. I'll see what my opponent's playing, because you have to obviously control no monsters if you don't have the field spell. He does go for Cursed Eldritch. I figure that's kind of like the best place for me to do it, because it doesn't trigger its destruction effect, and he doesn't get to search. So, you know, card-wise, it kind of works out. Now he's going to go for Summon Limit, and then he also has Pot of Prosperity. Not looking good. He's going to search another Floodgate, I think. He does go for Cursed Eldritch, but I think that's you can only activate... No. Okay, it's not a once per turn activation. Never mind. Okay, so that ends up like being completely useless, which is unfortunate. He sends that to the graveyard, which is fine. Doesn't matter. It would have been banished anyways. And then obviously this is going to banish itself. He does not play the Omni, I don't think, which is unbelievable. And it's pretty much the only reason I'm going to have a chance in this. So I'm going to go ahead and try to normal summon. And, ooh, geez. Summon limit, anti-spell, and then he'd have Conquistador. So obviously I have to do nothing there. I do still have the Gamma in hand. So hopefully I'm able to use that. Probably just like any Eldritch effect. I'm not going to chain there because I do want to have the extra summon with Gamma. Kind of unfortunate. Again, like these are kind of all searchable from the deck, and I just like these two are just they were just like kind of bricks, yeah, pretty much. And then look at that Lightning Storm. So I do have the out here, as long as he doesn't top deck a spell, I think specifically, or at least doesn't think about using Eldritch effect. So I tried to set a monster too, maybe to like deter him, and like if he was going to use the Eldritch effect, you know, hopefully he was going to like do it on the set monster. So it ends up working out. Like I get the body. He just like tries to special this, but it's not lethal. So things are like actually looking up for me like a little bit here. I have a chance, and look at that. I top deck a Beaver. So there goes all the floodgates, which is really nice. See you later. I can bring back this Nimble Angler, special summon. I don't think I should have. Actually, I don't know. Kind of weird, right? I'm going to go into Zeus. I can attack over. I like to play this card. I think it's a really good Zeus target. Especially, like, I didn't want to bring that back to his hand, so Sky Cavalry, like, kind of wouldn't have been good there. I can go into Carrot and a special summon, and now I can go into Sprint. So now I can actually kind of make some plays here. He does go for Hakero. It's okay. It's not really doing anything. And I can go into Gigantic. I end up searching red, and we can go to the end phase here. Okay. Right, I want to have the spell and the trap negate. And then look at that. He can't really do anything. He's like almost run out of resources. But you saw Gamma. It's obviously like a very good card. But I thought that was like more than anything just an entertaining duel to win against someone who had like the most, you know, all the floodgates ever. And I was just able to kind of just find a way to make it happen. This is against Fur Hire. Not bad. If you see this, it's not horrible. So I can go ahead and normal summon there. Go for Jet. This is a free special summon. Hopefully you can see a little bit of how the Fur engine works. It's basically just a lot of like link summoning and special summoning. That's all it really comes down to. All right, I can go into Gigantic, and I can search out Gamma, go into Pure. Right, I can just get rid of that Lightning Storm. It wasn't doing anything in my hand. And then I can go for Lambdia. All right, so I have a Spell and Trap Negate, and I do have Gamma here. He does try to go for the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which is kind of unfortunate. He's going to reveal. I'm going to go for Gamma, and then those are going to get banished during the end phase, so I get to search another PSY-Frame card. And I still had Smashers, too. But that's the cool thing. Like, if my opponent didn't, like, have that, the Carrot can be really good when you special summon out, like, the Driver and stuff, because it can distribute it. Instead of, you know, it's going to get banished during the end phase anyways, you can kind of just use it as free fuel. So those are kind of, that's kind of a cool interaction there. And then the last one here is against Trap Tricks. All right, so double trap is kind of weird. At least it's like live at the very least. Like, this isn't horrible because I do get to banish. Like, I'm going to get 2 interruptions, which is just like, okay. You could go for Sprite stuff here, but obviously, like, if you want to play PSY-Frames, like, you're going to go for the PSY-Frame lines. And again, like, this kind of just reminds me of, like, the Cyberus lines. It's just a little bit different. All right, he's going to set a bunch of cards. He's going to go for Mantis. I'm going to go for Gamma. All right, so that's going to get off the board, which is like super important. And then, of course, I can also just banish this. It's going to be banished anyways. And then during the end phase, I can search. So now I can give me a spell and trap negate. I also still have fuel, right? I can get rid of that last card. Unfortunately, I can't do anything, but that's okay. The resource loop keeps me going, right? I can keep attacking, I can keep searching, and eventually, like, I'm going to search my entire, like, engine of PSY-Frames, and the only top decks left are, like, pretty much the Spright cards, or at least that's the concept, but pretty fun. Let me know what you guys think about this in this version of PSY-Frame in the comment section down below. Other than that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.